Welcome back to part 2 of the Sports Wrap with Michael Kravetz. And in this section, we'll be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. This past Sunday night, they had a game with the Indianapolis Colts. It was on NBC, national television. Andrew Luck making his first appearance at Heinz Field. And the Steelers, they ended up winning the game 26-24. Not that the result really matters much, but I wanted to see how Andrew Luck would fare or how he would fare against the defense, Steelers defense. And he looked pretty well. He had 2 interceptions. One of them was a pick 6 by Ike Taylor, and the second one, it bounced out of the receiver's hands and landed in Cortez Allen's. Really wasn't his fault, but I thought Luck handled himself pretty well. Now, in the regular season, once Luck faces the Steelers, not this year, but maybe next year, we'll see how he fares. I mean, you can't really gain a lot from preseason. Only it's like, okay, this might be an indicator of what things might be to come. But I'd give him out of a 10. I'd say he played. I give him a 7 out of 10 for his performance against the Steelers. I was really interested in seeing how Charlie Batch would do. He got most of the snaps in this game. 7 of 10, 84 yards. He looked well. He's at a. I wouldn't say he has a knack for getting injured. Of course, not as much as Byron Leftwich, but he looked pretty more mobile than I've seen him in the past couple years. And I have a feeling, I'd be really comfortable for him being the backup if he gets the spot ahead of Leftwich if Ben goes down for some reason. I mean, Batch is 5-2 as a starter for the Steelers. So when he's had to come in, he's done his job. He threw the ball downfield a lot more in this game. One of the standouts, receiver David Gilraith. 4 receptions, 78 yards. He looked really good. And Antonio Brown, a couple catches, 75 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown grab was 57 yards. It was like a little out pass, screen pass, and he pretty much did all the work with the help of the blockers. On the running back side, Dwyer, 8 carries, 43 yards. Jason Ford, who they just called up, 8 carries, 42 yards. Chris Rainey had about 6 carries, 20 yards. Kind of the same numbers for Batch. It'll be interesting to see. Redmond is supposed to be back, and he's supposed to play a little bit in the Buffalo game coming up on Saturday in a few days. But I think with Dwyer, you got a good third stringer or backup for the beginning of the year, and with Jason Ford, I think they were saying, a mini bus. He looked pretty good too. Rainey looked like if he can polish his running game up just a little bit more, he could be explosive. But I think out of using him as in the screen pass, little dump off passes, I think he's going to be really effective in the Steelers offense. Ben, he was 5-9, 81 yards, a touchdown and a pick. The touchdown, like I said, was made by Antonio Brown pretty much. Ben didn't really have to do a lot. But in this next preseason game coming up against Buffalo, the starters, I'm assuming, would at least play the whole first half. So we're going to see maybe Haley's going to expose more of his offense, maybe show them throw it down the field. The defense looked pretty good too. Ryan Clark, 6 tackles. He was all over the place. Keenan Lewis, Ryan Mundy, Cortez Allen again. He got that pick. He was in the right place at the right time. I really think if he keeps playing the way he is right now in preseason, he's going to get the number 2 spot alongside Ike Taylor, and Keenan Lewis will be your nickelback. I think that's just the way it's been going so far. And also with the kicking game, the backup Daniel Ratman, he's 4 for 4 from field goals. So maybe he's giving Sweden a run for his money, but I really doubt that. I think Ratman's doing good for himself because it's showing like maybe another team might want to try and get him, but I think Sweezum's going to be their kicker this year for sure. But going back to the receiver battle, Brown, Sanders, and Cotchery will make this team. Tony Clemens, the rookie that they drafted in the 6th round, I was having high hopes for him, but so far I haven't seen much from him in preseason action. I'd hope that he would make the team, but if this David Gilraith steps it up and keeps playing the way he is, he will make the team, I think, instead of Clemens. The big news, though, that came yesterday is that Mike Wallace is in Pittsburgh, and it looks like he will sign his one-year tender for $2.7 million to play this year. That was phenomenal news that I heard, and their speculation is whether he will play at all in the Buffalo game. Probably, I don't think he will be, but I think he might play just a little bit in the Carolina game, the final game of the year next Thursday. I think this is huge, because now he's going to have some work in before the season starts. He'll be your number 1, Brown will be your 2, Sanders will be your 3, Cotry 4, and then I think Clemens and Gilraith will be competing for 5 and 6. They all might 6 both Clemens and Gilraith may make the team. But I think that's a good receiving core you have there. And I think Wallace, it was the right thing to do because he really had no other options. He was itching to play football. I mean, I don't think he's a bad guy. I mean, I know he wanted his money, but he's going to sign the contract now, play for a contract. If he has a stellar season, I guarantee you the Steelers will give him the money because the Steelers want to keep him. And if he has a super stellar season, yeah, I think it will be a little bit more than what Brown got. And I think Wallace would stay. Because I would hate to see him leave and go to another team after this year. Because I've always liked him since he got drafted. Of course, he's wearing my favorite number 17. But I just think he's an explosive receiver. I think he just has to do a little bit more to show that he's not just a one-trick pony and just run down the field. But, I mean, that is his game. I think occasionally he should try maybe, try some inside routes across the middle. Because I know if he gets a big hit, I understand he's not the biggest receiver. But that would just make him a dual threat. And with Wallace coming back, that means he might get double-teamed a lot. And that might leave Brown, Sanders, or Cotry open. So I think this is just all great news for the Steelers. It's great news for the receiving game and for Ben Roethlisberger because he loves throwing the ball to Mike Wallace. Because pretty much it's either he's going to score you a touchdown if you throw him to him for like 20 yards, or if you throw like a bomb to him for about 60 yards, he'll find a way to score a touchdown. So with their next preseason game coming up Saturday against the Bills, the third game, of course, has always been this way. The starters see the most action. I'm assuming the whole first half, and then I think I have a feeling some, like maybe Dwyer if he's playing in there and he's feeling good. Wallace, if for some chance he does play, maybe we'll play a little bit into the second half as well, maybe a series or two. But this will be a good indicator. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, they're 0-2 this preseason, and some people are saying they'll have an average year. Some people are thinking they may compete for the AFC East, but they're a good team. They got Stevie Johnson, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Fred Jackson, C.J. Spiller. So it'll be a good test for the Steelers' defense. But I will be very interested to see how Gilraith will compete in this game. I want to see if he has the same high level, even though he knows Wallace is back. So he may turn it up a notch because he realized, okay, they might only keep 5 receivers on this roster, and I think it's pretty much between him and Clemens. So that'll be something I'll be excited to see. And also the quarterback battle. That's going to continue again. I think Cortez Allen and Keenan Lewis. Curtis Brown I think's fallen off unless he has a spectacular game. I think the battle for the number 2 spot lies within Cortez Allen and Keenan Lewis. So I think that's going to be pretty huge. And it'll be interesting to see how many people the Steelers get back healthy that will be able to play in this game. Because Redmond, I told you, he's banged up. Hopefully he'll be able to play a little bit in this game. Good news that came, though, in the running back discussion was that Rashard Mendenhall, there's a chance he's going to be coming back in the end of October. So that, I was expecting him maybe to come back in November, late November at the earliest. But if he can come back here in October, that would be a huge boost for this ball club. And I'm assuming Leftwich might play in the second half once Ben is done. So that'll be huge because the number 2 quarterback has not been named yet. And I have a feeling Tomlin is leaning towards Leftwich as of now, but it could all change. And personally, I do think Batch is the more serviceable backup because he has proven that he can win when he is calling to start in case Ben gets hurt. So that about does it for this edition of the Sports Wrap. Next week we'll be talking about some Pitt football as their season gets underway next Saturday against Youngstown State. Talk more about the Buffalo Bills preseason game. Talk about how the starters fared since it's the longest action they're going to see in the preseason. Also give you a preview of the Carolina Panthers versus Pittsburgh Steelers preseason game, which will be next Thursday as well. And we're going to talk more about the Pirates. How will they fare after the 6-game homestand with the Brewers and Cardinals? Where will they be at in the wild card race and in the division race? So, signing off, I'm Michael Kravetz, and you just listened to the Sports Wrap.